Hey guys, Phil here, aka Polygoing. Welcome to episode 4 on the channel. Still at it with some Dark Souls. I'm just cruising with my spell sword build I started putting together in the last episode. And coming up, we got some PvP, there's some PvE, there is a collection of spectacular fails as I'm just bombing around in Anor Londo. Probably one of my favorite places in the game, except for every other place in the game. I hate Anor Londo. Alright, so episode 4, an Orlando disaster. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this, but Anor Londo has Orlando in it, clear as day, as in Orlando, Florida. So I cannot see Anor Londo as it pops up on screen in white, welcome to Anor Londo, without thinking of Disney World. And I hate Disney World, so maybe that little bit of negativity is tied to my hatred for Anor Londo. But in thinking about it, I think that it has a sort of Disney World quality to it as well, right? Everything is very beautiful. It's the home of these mythical figures, you know, rife with lore. Everything is in its place, gorgeous backdrops, all that kind of thing. From the outside, within about 5 minutes of being there, you are thinking, oh my god, this is the most irritating place I have ever been. I cannot wait to get the fuck out of here as soon as possible. I find that to be a real shame. That eats at me a little bit, because I want to love it here. In terms of the story, in terms of the lore behind it as the abandoned home of the gods, I think it is just fantastic. There's the one remaining god, Gwendolyn, this weird, creepy cross-dressing guy that's got some pretty righteous magic, commands this badass covenant of vengeful hunters. He's got his illusory sister, Gwendolyn. I think everybody remembers her. She's bustier than the Roman Empire. Oh, I'm going to run over here and give Smo a little ominous point. A portent of doom to come. I'm coming for you, fatty. But for whatever reason, I just cannot abide playing through it. It really irritates me for a couple reasons that I'll go into. One of which is coming up right around the corner here. Mimics. There was a couple of mimics, maybe one prior to Anor Londo, but you gotta be careful running around this place in your treasure hunting, because if you just willy-nilly open shit up, you are going to get eaten. And I run into a lot of mimic trouble down the road, as we'll see in the fail section. Yeah, granted, it's a small thing. Give them a kick, poke them. They're not really that difficult to suss out. And if they do get you, it'll probably leave you with such an impression that you never fuck with them again. If you have any wits about you, as the NPCs are prone to say. I apparently didn't learn that lesson. It's my third playthrough here. Oh, I wanted to quickly point out this cool little treadmill action going on this rotating column. I love doing that. Every time it spins, I'll run opposite, and you get this neat parallax going on in the background. It's just kind of fun, just a little bit of joy in an otherwise mirthless playthrough here in Anor Londo. So that's one in the pro column, I guess. It's a little bit of a silver lining. And now, granted, as I'm whining about these mimics, understand they are fairly trivial things, right? It's not like I'm going to let these goofy trap treasure chests single-handedly ruin my experience in the level. I'm not that fragile. But they are a component in what is my bigger beef with Anor Londo. And that is that the challenge here feels different than it does elsewhere in the game. The quality of the challenge feels different. I'm just going to wave at these guys as I pop them off with my soul arrows here, just to be a little bit of a dick, just to troll the environment back and take some of that peace of mind back, because the environment is trolling me plenty. So as these guys plummet to their death, neener, neener, why can't they fly? I don't know. But so the quality of the challenge is what I was saying, and Souls games are notorious for their difficulty. Right? The developers have said time and time again, we make these games brutally difficult so that players experience this reward when they finally complete these challenges. And I could not agree with them more. I mean, it works. The formula works 99% of the time. There is nothing like the elation you feel when you finally defeat a boss that has been throwing you around all day. But this spot, this is actually my second pass up here. On the first time, a vagrant appeared right about here, and I was so spooked and so thrown off my game, because I had never seen one before, I guess they're fairly rare, that I just lost control of my controller and went plummeting to my doom. I feel this spot perfectly illustrates what I'm talking about in terms of the quality of the challenge, and never mind my mismanagement of my little buttress duel here. You apparently cannot kick these guys off. And I didn't learn my lesson there and have to come back for yet another pass. But this spot where you've got the 2 Silver Knights chucking Dragon Slayer arrows at you that knock you back even if you successfully block them with your shield on precarious footing to begin with. So every time some painting guardian sneezes in the interior cathedral, you go falling. That just seems kind of cheap. It's a challenge in a cheap way and not a challenge in a rewarding way. I feel it's pretty uncharacteristic for Souls games. When I get through that spot, I don't feel that sense of reward. I don't feel that sense of accomplishment. The only thing I'm left with is frustration and the thought of, oh my god, I cannot wait to never do that again. For me, that's a rare miss in these Souls games. I usually look forward to the next time I take on these challenges because it'll be a measure of how I've improved or how I've gotten better or how I've learned to implement things I picked up along the way. This just seems like it was implemented in kind of a parlor tricky kind of way. It was definitely intentional. I'm not saying it's accidental. There was absolutely some thought and craft that went into this little gauntlet, but it seems like a very shallow kind of difficulty. It seems maybe one step up from, we'll just add more enemies to make it harder. That's just my 2 pennies on the subject. I know Anor Londo is a lot of people's favorite level, so don't get mad at me. I'm just expressing nothing except my personal opinion and frustration with the quality of the challenge that I perceive in this level. So on this, my last run, I think I actually do make it. I try to vary my tactics a little bit. I'm going to fire up a homing soul mass here, thinking, alright, if I run up the last little stretch there and make a sharp right, maybe my HSM will lock in on the guy, hit him, and buy me just a split second to keep going. But of course, they all pop on these corners, and I think I make it up with 1 remaining orb that does actually hit him, but he starts swinging violently at me and falls off, so I get a little help from Lady Luck there. I guess you could argue I did learn something, because when I got up to this guy, I didn't try and kick him off. I had a pretty unsuccessful kicking attempt, trying to send one of these guys off the rail, and ended up getting skewered for it. Now as I've made it, I'm standing here for a long time. This is what thinking looks like, because I'm sitting here just deliberating. I know there's another knight over there. I know there's a soul item. Do I want it that bad? If I fail, I'm going to have to do all this again. Yeah, let's go get it. So like a fool, glutton for punishment, I make my way over here. This last guy shooting at me with his Dragon Slayer bow. I say, okay, I'm going to sit here, so if he does knock me back, I'm just going to go into the wall. I ended up getting a nice parry on him and killed him, and all is well. So I got the soul item. Didn't die on this last time, and hopefully I never have to do this again. Of course, until I make another build and have to repeat the Anor Londo experience. And so I've made it to the interior. Feeling at least a little better because I hit the bonfire, so if I die, I don't have to go through all the tomfoolery that led me here. And just thinking, man, I can't wait to open some doors and fight a shit ton of Silver Knights. Shared an interesting experience with Solaire at the bonfire too, where he thought I was hitting on him. You know, who's to say I wasn't? I'm to say I wasn't. But my mimic woes are not done. So this one I give a poke. Think, okay, nope, mimic. And what actually, if you saw, I tried to give it some pokes. What happened was, I am using an S-Stock that I am utterly unfamiliar with, but I'm just kind of trying out based on some comments I exchanged with Arkel Productions on the previous video. He was saying, hey man, you know, I'll say what's up to him. Thanks man, thanks for the feedback. And he was saying, hey, that S-Stock is awesome. It's my go-to weapon. I don't know anything about it, so I thought, yeah, let's try it out. Not a shining first experience with it, but that has to do with me being a dumbass, not anything wrong with the weapon. But at this point, I'm just having a bad day, man. I am just playing on tilt, getting hit by just about everything, dying, frustrated in an environment I don't necessarily like, and I'm just trying to get through it. And I'm making all these dumb mistakes that I didn't even make on my first playthrough. It's just an off day, you know. You kind of have those. But I mean, it's cool because things are about to go from bad to worse. My mimic woes are not done yet, and I don't know what the hell is wrong with me. I mean, I'm getting eaten alive by these mimics. Actually, no, I guess I'm not eaten alive. I'm getting eaten undead by these mimics. And I'm sure everybody's watching this just saying, like, what the fuck is the matter with you, dude? These mimics are not that difficult. No, they aren't. Like I said, I'm just having an off day. I hate Anor Londo. I just got flying, spinning kicked. Man, and this guy's actually about to grab me out of mid-roll and do his little grab, munch, munch, munch attack. So, you know, chalk it up to a bad day. We all have bad days. It's one of those that you just can't click. Some sort of disconnect between the neurons, the synapses in your fingers, and nothing works. And that's my piece on Anor Londo. I think I've said it. There it was. You see that? He grabbed me out of mid-roll. Thanks, invincibility frames. Christ. But I find this level to be cheap in ways unlike other environments in the game. I feel like it's kind of that 1%, that rare miss in Souls games where the difficulty is not rewarded with a sense of satisfaction or fulfillment because it's just kind of cheap. It's just kind of shallow. It's just kind of hollow, pun intended. But for me, this is absolutely the biggest slog in the game, the biggest grind, much more so than Blighttown, which kind of has that reputation. I know that's a lot of people's least favorite level, and you just get through it as quickly as possible. For me, that Blighttown metaphor level is Anor Londo. I really don't like the PvE stuff here. I think it's just kind of a drag, and I'd be really curious to hear what you guys think too, if I'm just fucking crazy or if some of the stuff I was talking about resonates a little bit. And actually, before I took on Ornstein and Smo, I unhollowed and did a little bit of PvP in the area too, just to see what was out here. It was actually my first foray into lower level PvP. The first playthrough, I went pretty much exclusively as a hollow. One, because I was scared to death, and two, because I didn't really understand the game, how it played, mechanics, and wasn't that comfortable. So the last thing I wanted to do was go out there and just kind of embarrass myself. I wanted to have at least a moderate foundation before I went out there and just wasted people's time, wasted my time. I think I'm going to save that for a part 2, though, and upload that shortly thereafter this one. That seems like a pretty nice bookend. This was a PvE video, pretty much, and just some thoughts on Anor Londo in general. So I will split this up into 2 parts. I'll upload the PvP section shortly following this one. Just a nice way to boost my video count. That's a terrible way to boost your video count. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, as always. Hit me up with any kind of comments or feedback or things like that. Sub if you like it. Give me a like. All the standard YouTube stuff and PvP coming up shortly. Thanks. Bye.